Welcome, everybody, to our launch of the Executive Coaching Service with FI Consult. We are very proud to announce the official launch of the service for financial planning businesses and for financial planners. This is something that we've already been providing, but with the launch of our new website and the clarification of our services that came with that launch, we've decided to formalize the executive coaching offering and share some more detail through this webinar today. It's also an evolving product in that we've identified a gap in the financial planning market, and we will be sharing a look into things to come. So today we're going to start off with some concepts and applications, move through a few of those, and then we'll go on to the more practical things that you might have begging questions for at the end. We'll explore some definitions and position the coaching and the executive coaching for specifically the financial planning profession in a bit of detail, and then the formats and pricing and everything you need to know will follow that. Really, to begin a conversation around how we can help your business and develop your people. So let's start at the beginning with coaching itself, just some definitions of core coaching, which has everything to do with who you are and how you show up. Now, that sounds very simple, but that's really as simple as it is. It has everything to do with a human being that sits in front of a coach and what we do with them and how we take them through a process within the container of conversation to guide them to develop themselves. And it has everything to do as well with the relationships that the individual has with him or herself, others, things, and the world, and how to create the capacity to be self-generating and self-correcting. And one other definition we can throw at this, which is I think the one that's more commonly known by anyone that's not even necessarily involved in the coaching world, is where we create versions of ourselves, whether it be the next version of ourselves, and whether that be a short timeline like a year or a longer one like 5 years, or the ultimate version of ourselves, which is ultimately who we want to be in this world. Some examples of themes and applications of coaching as a raw concept. Some you might be familiar with, like coaching and reframing and debriefing, but we also take into play ideas like intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and now added to that, the later one is positive intelligence. Other themes like courage, resilience, perseverance, which lend themselves to grit, also accountability, change, and we deal with change management within FI Consult. Clarity, which relates to perspective, also confidence. Something we've been working with a lot lately is the idea of self-sabotage and saboteurs. Also something you might be familiar with is imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, and something everyone knows very well is work-life balance. So that just gives you, to some degree, an introduction, and for others, maybe a reminder of what coaching in its raw form is about. So then if we go on to this idea of executive coaching, you might ask, what's the difference between coaching and executive coaching? Well, executive is simply a prefix to coaching. And at the heart of everything, the prefixes are just that. They're prefixes, they're labels. You might have heard of coaches that call themselves, for example, mindset coaches or success coaches or confidence coaches or relationship coaches. And now we're talking about executive coaching and therefore executive coaches that deliver the service. But executive coaching has less to do with the modality of coaching and everything to do with the clients and the target market that we deal with. Any prefix, not just executive coaching, is an approach to the coaching relationship. And with executive coaching, the entry point is generally business. So if you think about coaching being delivered to an executive committee or an executive individual, it's usually where they are in the business, and then you've got a coach of a certain caliber, maybe skill and experience, that's approaching that business, working with those people at that level. So it's very much about who you are in business versus who you are in life that positions you very well for the service of executive coaching versus, for example, life coaching. So coachees, who are the coaching clients, are not necessarily executive committee members, but they have a certain mindset and a certain skill set, which has much to do with potential versus performance. And executive coaching services serve a particular type of person who is generally a leader in this respect. And leaders often have blind spots. And I mentioned that because if you ask the world's greatest leaders that have coaches why they have coaches, their answer will be because we can't see what we can't see. And they would therefore benefit from someone that challenges their thinking and holds them accountable to taking action. So then, how do we relate coaching to financial planning? Well, this relationship was discovered or applied, I think the combination of both, more than 25 years ago, where we saw upfront and obviously the parallel between both coaching and financial planning. Both deal with where a client is versus where a client wants to be. And not just a client, it could be any human being, where they are versus where they want to be. And coaching helps individuals create and achieve anything they want. And financial planning does the same. It just happens to focus on the service provision and the art and the science and the math and the law and the tax of financial planning. So from a financial planning perspective, it has everything to do with where a client is right now and where a client wants to be in their future. So their current reality versus their designed future, and has everything to do with goals. And the truth is that every single goal can be monetized. And then the next step from there is to come up with strategies and actions in pursuit of those goals, which is in application, the plan or the advice, and also the implementation of that plan and advice, and the client's commitment to that implementation, as well as the relationship, the financial planning relationship between the advisor and the client, having a function of accountability. It's not indifferent to coaching. And that's where very many years ago, the idea of having financial planners becoming coaches started to take effect. So then we go and have a look at a coaching way of being and explore that in terms of who you are and how you show up is your way of being. That is your way of being. So coaching, whether it be core coaching without a prefix or executive coaching or any other type of coaching, works to shift that way of being so that the individual can show up as the professional, in this case, the business leader or the financial planner that they want to or they need to be. Then we go into coaches or coaching leaders and leadership teams. And that has everything to do with running the business and leading the people within that business, which takes us to coaching specialist professionals, in this case, very specifically financial planners. We could also follow with paraplanners, article planners, and administrators if they came onto coaching programs or were to be coached within the business. But focusing specifically on financial planners, it's around their own goals, just the way they do with their clients and working with their clients' goals. It's where they are versus where they want to be. In this case, with financial planners being the specialist professionals, it's who they want to be. And that has everything to do with who they need to be to do what they need to do in the provision of their services and also the building of their business, whether they're leading the business or they've got their micro business being their client book within the financial planning business. And examples of this are providing advice and developing new business. So then the coaching is often around personal goals. For example, it could be lifestyle goals, exactly like a financial planner would do with the client. We would do with the financial planner. And also, again, that theme of work-life balance, because financial planners work very hard and are under a lot of pressure to deliver what they need to. And also business goals, for example, the number of clients, income, and assets under management. All right, so that's a few of the concepts and applications covered. Let's go on to coaching your team, which is one of the two services, if you have a look at the website, which is highlighted. Our executive style coaching approach to personal and professional development supports leaders and professionals to perform at their best. So we deliver this in two formats. The first is one-to-one, which is individual coaching, and group. And we default to online, although face-to-face can, in exceptional circumstances, be made available. The second is teaching your team to be coaches, to use that language again, the way that they show up with their clients, to be coach-like. Our combination, teaching, training, and coaching, supports financial advisors to develop and enhance a coaching way of being. This approach with clients creates deeper, more trusted, and meaningful relationships over time. We employ core coaching methodology and processes, and the formats are the same in terms of one-to-one or group. We can deliver the service in both. We also default to online. Again, in exceptional circumstances, it can be delivered in person. And the announcement here is that we have discovered that the coaching courses, as popular as coaching is becoming within financial planning, there have been some courses available to financial planners and financial planning businesses over the last number of years, maybe 5 years and maybe a little bit more. But those courses are becoming somewhat exclusive and only available to what a lot of businesses, including us, call strategic partners. So it's become very difficult for non-strategic partners to put their advisors on courses that either accredit them to become coaches or courses that teach them to be coach-like in the way that they show up with their clients. Almost a barrier to entry in its entirety. Even UFS has limitations, as far as I understand, on how you get into their course. At this point, it might just be money, but there are limitations. And we are going to, in the course of 2024, introduce an accredited, potentially credentialed, ICF certified course to our strategic partner practices, but also to anyone in financial planning that's interested in becoming more coach-like in the way that they show up with their financial planning clients. And this will be done at different levels. Very simply put, at this stage, as we're thinking about it, a simple entry-like course which is concepts and ideas, and working with who you are, but also then going into credentialing and certifying. So that's something that we'll announce formally later on this year. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is who are the coaches. And I, as a qualified, experienced, and credentialed coach, and also owning a coaching business, which is really the start of the provision of these services into FI Consult, will take the coaching lead, and we'll use associate coaches where I'm not available or we don't have the capacity. And those associate coaches are all experienced in both financial planning and coaching. Many of those that we use and will use will be both certified financial planner professionals, and they'll be coaching certified, and they will come with a requisite skill and experience. All right, so the agreements that we have are either under a group retainer. So for example, where we have a strategic partner business that already has an agreement with us, we can enhance that agreement, or if we are bringing on a new strategic partner, we can include in that agreement a coaching delivery. We can also do it as a standalone service, so the business need not necessarily be a strategic partner and receive all the services that fall under a general retainer, but they can come in as coaching only. We can form a coaching agreement with that business. And how that looks in terms of price is led by the time that we spend. Coaching is very time sensitive because it often mostly involves the time of the coach that is delivering the service, working with the individuals and or the groups of people. Also the format, whether it is virtual, which again we default to because we have access and it makes sense in terms of time, but we can do in person. And also the coach, him or herself, depending on who that person is, the experience that they have, where they are, the skill that they have, the experience that they have, and their familiarity with the financial planning profession, and whether you need complete objectivity with that profession or whether you need familiarity with that profession, which I must say is not always a benefit, because financial planners and anyone involved in financial planning will often lean into that familiarity and use it to tell stories and often complain about what's wrong and so on. But either way, we can make it work. So the coaching agreement will be led price-wise by all of these factors. And it all starts with a needs analysis. As with most of our agreements that we have with our clients, it began with a conversation where we tried to understand where they are, what was going on in their business, and what their needs were, and we aligned our services with what they needed to take their business forward. FI Consult is all about working with our strategic partner, financial service provider businesses, to help them grow and scale. And the more we can understand about where their business is right now and what they need, the better we can align those services. So if you're interested in the coaching service, please reach out to us at hello@FI Consult. Our numbers are here. And by the way, please follow us on mostly LinkedIn at this point.